Hello, everyone. Welcome to ET Manufacturing, where we invite industry leaders and experts to discuss on the latest trends, mega trends, which are happening in the global manufacturing industry, as well as the opportunities and challenges, and certain specific developments in their respective organization. So today we are going to discuss about advanced technology adoption in the manufacturing industry. For example, Industry 4.0 or artificial intelligence. The Industry 4.0, which used to be the buzzword few years back in the industry, has now become kind of must-have technology in the industry. And today we have with us Mr. Rajesh Parameswaran, who is the Executive Director and Industrial Sector Leader in IBM Consulting. So, Rajesh, welcome to the show, and I'm quite excited to interact with you on the latest technologies in the manufacturing industry.
Thank you, Shekhar, for having me. It's a pleasure to be on this platform with you.
So, Rajesh, to start with, I would like to know how can Industry 4.0 and artificial intelligence, how can they be the game changer for the Indian manufacturers in the current competitive business world? Because as you know, the competition is increasing day by day. Plus, there are certain global trends which are coming into Indian manufacturing as well. So, how do you
Right.
see the overall developments in this area?
Thanks, Shekhar, for bringing that up. I think there are a couple of things that we see from the way we look from a technology into manufacturing kind of a scenario. One, like you rightly said, there is game-changing events happening across the globe. So automatically, the whole geopolitical atmosphere creates a different environment for manufacturing per se. Now, India, if you really look at it, is at the cusp of manufacturing resurgence, if I may say. And you look at it from any lens, right? The opportunity that Indian industry, especially the manufacturing industry, has to scale up is just immense. I mean, the headroom is huge in terms of opportunities, whether it is domestic consumption or global and all of that. And to that extent, I think for Indian industry to make the best use of what can be achieved, it has become very important, and it has become imperative to embrace technology in a big way, right? If you see, largely manufacturing has been a little bit of a laggard in terms of embracing new technologies. That has changed significantly ever since pandemic and all of that hit, right? People have really looked at different ways of how you can look at manufacturing. Now that has meant that these technologies have been able to bring into play quality improvements, driving efficiency, energy management, and all of these elements, and faster go to market. All of these elements have actually been enabled by the embrace and use of technology, especially Industry 4.0. So I see a big opportunity for Indian industry to really pick this up and grow, especially in the new environment.
Right, very well said. Rajesh, since Industry 4.0 was probably launched overall globally, there were certain very, very big challenges when it comes to its adoption. And I think most of the challenges have already been overcome by the industry. But do you see still there are some challenges which are especially for the Indian industry or MSME, you can say? So what kind of, we would like to highlight those challenges in terms of adoption of these advanced technologies?
Right. And great question, Shekhar. And I want to kind of break this into two parts. One is the way large enterprise manufacturers look at, technology, and the way MSMEs look at it, right? So kind of, break it up into two parts. If you see the large, enterprise manufacturers, whether it is steel, cement, metals, any of the automotive, all of these, segments have actually embraced technology to a large extent. Automotive has been actually leading that segment in the use of Industry 4.0, whether it is in terms of connected cars, connected automobiles, and all of those elements that come in. They have used it to better customer experience. They have used it to better safety, and they've also used it to ensure that you get most bang out of the buck, whether it is the manufacturing process or the customer side, right? And to that extent, actually, the automotive companies have actually also been a little bit of a front runner in terms of leveraging technology across supply chain, bringing their ecosystem, all of that. So in those segments where you see the ancillaries are tightly integrated to the mothership, right? You see the embrace of technology, crossing the border and pervading into the MSMEs as well. So they are more enabled. They are actually being, kind of enabled by the mothership itself to adopt those technologies to better collaborate, to ensure that you're getting better visibility on whether it is supplying of parts, whether it's supplying of finished products, and all of that. Now, if you look at MSMEs as a standalone, right? People who manufacture parts and are suppliers of parts and other things. That's where there is a bigger challenge. And also in terms of smaller companies which are into manufacturing different kinds of products, electrical products and small components, small products, etc. There they have a challenge in terms of how steps that can be taken. Two things. One is in terms of sometimes it is also about the cost and the value realization that they can get, right? And I think as technology providers, we have a much larger role to play in developing that segment to actually adopt these technologies much better. And that can happen with collaborating with the large manufacturers, whether it is the large steel companies or automotives, as to how do we bring all this together. Like, I mean, some years ago, we brought in DMS for the automotive industry, right? And similarly, different sets of collaboration that can be done. Today, it's even more easier because people are working on platforms. So you can create a technology digital platform, and it's easier to bring partners onto the platform and do it. I see the trend picking up, right? But it is still not there. It takes some time. That is where the real benefit is. I think add to that the fact that the government is also encouraging a lot more. There are PLIs in place. They're focusing on MSMEs in terms of how MSMEs are even kind of compensated, right? The billing advantages and all of this. So that's a much better play with MSMEs happening. But I guess it is still a little time away in terms of the standalone MSMEs to do that. But I think that's coming in there.
But as compared to see the big corporates, which have the easy resources, easy manpower availability, and also the expert guidance from different sources, maybe from global sources or from the
Yeah,
local partners. But MSMEs still face some kind of there is some gap in terms
yes,
of getting the technology adoption in their facility. So be it the technology in their manufacturing processes or in designing or distribution or in supply chain. So they don't have the easy resources to get in.
correct.
So what's your advice to MSMEs? Because currently adoption of advanced technologies is a necessity
Yes,
by whatever way they have to do it. So what's your
yes.
advice to the MSMEs to overcome these current challenges and get this adoption successful so as to ensure the ROI as well as their effect on their manufacturing processes?
So, at IBM Consulting, we've actually looked at this problem in a very different way, right? What we've felt that is that you can't, have a one size fits all kind of an approach to when you're dealing with MSMEs. So, to that extent, the way we engage and the way we consult in terms of developing prototypes and developing, solutions for these people, we've created what is called as a garage model. So when we say garage, it is a squad model that we create. So it is a co-creation model that works with the clients in a collaborative manner, picking up smaller pieces of work and then building on top of it as we go along. So it is not that you wait for a long period of time to see the benefits. You start seeing the benefits in small steps as we keep rolling along. What it helps is that it helps the clients to start seeing the benefit, and therefore they see the worth in investing more time and effort and money into that certain processes. At the same time, if they see that a certain POC delivers effect in terms of whether it is about optimizing the cost or driving efficiency or even improving quality to to a OEM, then they do see a benefit, and we've seen that being fairly adopted in multiple sets of scenarios. One of the other thing that we also do and work and have started encouraging a lot more is that we also work with an ecosystem of partners. So it is also about bringing a smaller organization, bringing partners who have very specialized niche skills, right? Who are doing some work in certain niche areas. How do we bring them along and provide the consulting advisory services along with bringing in some of these kind of solutions as an overall package to the MSME. So that's the other approach that we've taken, and I think it's actually working well. I would say that people should go all out in terms of bringing that, because this is here to stay. The sooner you adopt it, the faster you along, go and acquire it, the much better your outcome, your go to market, and that you become even more competitive in the market. Yeah.
True. Like any company can just start adopting the technology, and as they start working on it, they will get to know the challenges, and then eventually they will start overcoming it. Right.
Right.
So there is sustainability, which has been the talk in every conference globally as well as in India. So
Right.
what role does Industry 4.0 play in advancing the sustainability and also achieving the ESG goals in the manufacturing sector?
We have a theme which we say that make the factories of tomorrow today, right? So it's like, how do you create, not just smarter factories, but how do you create factories that are sustainable, that are more efficient, right, as they go along. So if you really look at Industry 4.0, what does Industry 4.0 really mean? It means that you have a system of sensors which work across your various, plants and equipments, and they collate data. So when you bring that data in and you try and gain more insights, right? That's where you can actually look at pockets where you can, either conserve more energy, you can drive more efficiency, and all of that. I'll give you an example. In a textile, plant, the one of the largest, consumption that happens is steam, and that's primarily used in, whether you use in dyes and all of those processes. And steam is a big component of cost for any textile manufacturer, right? Now, if you sensorize it and use the pull in the right kind of data at the edge of the network, and get into drawing insights, you will be able to make small changes the in that particular process without impacting the quality of the dye or without impacting the quality of the product. At the same time, being able to deliver cost. These benefits can go up to anywhere between 8 to 10%. And if a 10% of a cost of energy for a textile company is huge, whether it is water, steam, all of those areas, right? So similarly, there are multiple use cases where you talk about either energy conservation, you talk about ensuring that the downtime is reduced, all of that, which actually, at the end of the day, goes into meeting the sustainability goals, right? So that's something. And then if you look at, say, for example, mining companies, right? Mining is, in that sense, very a difficult domain, from a sustainability point of view. But even there, when people have started adopting digital mining services, people have started looking at data as a big element of, how do you look at mining in a more conservative manner? How, with the use of technology, how do you actually enable the surround ecosystem, around a mine, whether it is in terms of ensuring that the people living in the edge of the, such environments are actually being taken care of, right? How do that contribute to their living standards, etc.? So it is a social aspect as well as an environmental aspect of how you actually manage, sustainability.
Would you like to share with us any innovative examples? Although you mentioned the mining industry and textile industry, with examples of how manufacturers have used digital solutions to address the environmental challenges and same time while maintaining the profitability.
So, yeah. So, for example, people have used in the aviation industry, right? In terms of conserving fuel when you are actually flying, or for that matter, in automotive, when you have a connected vehicle, right? With the use of that data that comes in, you are actually monitoring the torque, the parameters of the automotive vehicle when it is moving, and therefore using those data to actually work out your fuel consumption. It tells you which is the best path to take, in terms of driving with a more optimized fuel usage, etc. So those benefits really drive not only efficiency at the plant level, but also for customers, right? From a customer experience perspective, customers are also encouraged to buy or to go for products which are more sustainable. One another very interesting example that I would really like to give you is about how we used sustainability in textiles, right? We did a experiment with one of the largest textile companies in India, where we looked at the possibility of separating polymer and cotton, right? The largest problem that textiles have is the used clothes that are actually they don't degenerate, and they still remain as landfills, and then they go into third world countries and all of that. We found a mechanism which we, because of IBM's understanding of polymer, during our fab days, etc., and we used a technology that was available with us at research to actually separate polymer and cotton completely. So what it means is then that cotton gets reused, right? And the polymer is reused in a separate manner. So you can actually recycle used fabric at the same city or the port or the place where it is actually getting discarded. You are cutting out landfills by a huge margin. And then IBM kind of worked with multiple clients, including Under Armour as a global brand, and we created a separate company which was picking up this as a solution to go in the market. So sustainability, and obviously, I mean, especially in textiles, there's a large adoption of sustainable clothing.
So in the context of Industry 4.0, you just mentioned about the data, and currently there has been data getting produced from many resources, because we are bombarded by data, we are bombarded by all the information to social media and even from the other sources. So how can manufacturers effectively harness this vast amount of data is being generated on the shop floor as well as from various other sources?
I think the biggest challenge that most of the enterprises face is their understanding of what data is required and how do we actually pull in data itself, right? What is the data that you really need, and how do you use it? In what kind of manner will you use it? So typically what we've done, and the kind of view that we provide, our point of view to clients, is to look at first in terms of bringing all the data together, different solutions that come in, whether you look at data lakes as a solution, or a lot of people do data warehousing as well. So the point is, how do you bring all the source of data together, create a one source of truth, in that sense, and then bring it together to draw insights. In a manufacturing concept, and in a manufacturing plant, for example, there would be hundreds of equipments which are constantly throwing up data. What we do is we bring in data fabric as a mechanism or as an element to actually where all the data comes in and resides. And using that data fabric at the edge, you can delve into the data fabric, gain insights from the data that is brought in there, and based on we make various changes. In cement companies, for example, you are able to look at how can you play around with the raw mix or the fuel mix to ensure that you are able to deliver a better quality cement, optimize the efficiency. We've seen benefits of across the world. We've seen benefits close to about $2 at an EBITDA level per ton that can be realized by bringing this kind of a technology into play.
But I have been interacting with many industry experts and leaders, and even in some of the conferences, it has been said that whatever data is generated, especially in the industry, out of which only 3 to 5% have been used for a very concrete purpose, for the purpose which we are aiming at. So what do you think the rest of the data which gets wasted? How can you really monetize on that? How can you leverage on that data to make it more workable for your manufacturing processes?
So it actually depends on which segment of data that you're really looking at, right? I wouldn't bother if I want to drive, operational efficiency in a plant, right? I would focus on that particular segment of the plant where, the whole manufacturing is happening, and I pick up the data that's coming there. That's where the data cleansing process comes into play. So when you clean your data up, and pick up the data that is relevant to drive a use case, right? So the moment you approach it from a use case point of view, you understand very clearly what segments of data is important for you to kind of pick it up, right? And then look at using different technologies to drive those outcomes that you're really wanting to achieve. So it's more about cleaning up the data in the beginning, and then using different tools that are available to draw insights.
When you are using Industry 4.0, I'm sure there are lots of new technologies have already come in, or you are anticipating some technologies which may make their presence felt in the industry. So what do you envision as the next way of advancements in Industry 4.0 beyond this current technology?
So one of the elements that have been talked about a lot, but not necessarily implemented to a large extent, is this concept of digital twin, right? So digital twin can be used in various different kinds of scenarios, whether it is about assisting in repair functions, whether it is about handling dangerous equipments, whether it's about going into hazardous areas and ensuring that maintenance work gets taken up. All of these areas, digital twin plays a big role in terms of providing the uh, people on the job that level of benefit and advantage of handling a particular operation. The other thing is about digital printing, and digital printing is something which is gained a lot of mileage right now. There's a lot of work that's happening in digital printing. People are talking about building automobiles, building getting into construction using printing per se. So that's the other area where I see. But the largest, I think the most impacting area would be about a human machine, kind of coexistence in a particular manufacturing environment, which people call it, Industry 5.0 or humanoid, where robots and humans coexist and work together with clear, roles being carved out. I think those are some of the areas where there'll be a lot of advancement and a lot of work that is going to happen, especially in the context of Gen AI working along with Industry 4.0 as an area of work.
How about the Industry 5.0?
Yeah, which is what I was talking about. Bringing human and robotics together in a manufacturing environment, right? So that's an area where you will see work happening more, and in that scenario, you will also find a lot of Gen AI work happening. Another very interesting area which IBM has been talking a lot about is in the area of quantum computing, right? And we believe very strongly that quantum computing will change the entire landscape of how you look at manufacturing, right? Especially when it is plugged with technologies in the telecom, which is 5G, 6G coming in. The processing of data, right, as fast as it can be, compute power, going much higher. The ability to process and data and to really throw outcomes will be very, very high, especially in large industry segments like oil and gas. We see this going to play a very big role. we've been actually championing the cause of quantum computing and AI in manufacturing, especially in line with the concept of Viksit Bharat that Prime Minister Modi has been championing. And to that extent, we've worked with some of the academic institutions in the country to set up quantum labs. We are doing a lot of work around AI, setting up AI labs across the country. So we very strongly believe that for manufacturing to scale up and to kind of reach global scale for India to become the next hub, these technologies will play a very, very critical role.
Uh, so, Rajesh, I would also like to know when it comes to adopting any advanced technologies, these technologies have to be integrated into the existing systems.
Yes.
So, how can manufacturers integrate these cutting-edge technologies into their existing systems while addressing challenges such as the legacy infrastructure? And how is IBM helping the manufacturers in this area?
From a technology point of view, it is easier to kind of take that path. So, for example, if you're looking at legacy environments, these days you have enough and more tools available to modernize your legacy environment, to take them to cloud, make those applications cloud ready, and therefore you kind of are able to bring it to a certain level where you can scale it up and modernize it, right? The challenge in the manufacturing segment is more around change management, right? That you see. And while the board has a certain vision about, how do you bring AI into the manufacturing process, etc., the it is more the legacy of the organization that operates in, right? That sometimes becomes a deterrent. I think that is also with the talent pool that's available in with a lot of people getting into smaller startup work that happens in technology, especially in AI in India. We definitely see a game changer there, that people are looking very strongly at adopting technologies like AI into their environment. From our perspective, we do a lot of work, consulting and advising various boards. We do CX level, conversations around, especially with some of the largest manufacturing leaders in terms of how you bring technology into this play. So there is a lot of work we do, show and tell to clients in terms of POCs that are being done, so that they can really see the benefit, as we go and implement some of these.
So while you are talking to the CX level people in the big organization, and you just mentioned about the strategies from, I will say, from top floor to shop floor. So how is that
Yes.
managed when it comes to adoption?
So the work at the buy-in actually happens at the top in terms of the benefit that it can actually get out, right? So, for example, we did a workshop with one of the largest cement companies in India, and we talked about how Gen AI can actually drive operational efficiency in their environment, and we talked about it delivering close to about $2, in terms of EBITDA improvement per ton of cement, right? Now that automatically creates a lot of interest, right? And if you see in India, the Indian industry faces challenge not about being able to deliver things. This is about scaling. So all the companies in India are looking at how can you grow 3 times, 4 times faster, right? So it's all about scaling your ecosystem environment. How can you produce more? How can you produce it more efficiently? How can you better the quality? And how can you better the design of what you produce? So that's the focus. Given that as a focus, and if you're able to, exhibit as to a path in terms of how you can achieve some of those benefits, people do pick up a buy-in. The trend that we see is that there's a lot of change in the middle management as well, where people are looking very seriously at digital, because it's also a career thing for a professional who's driving technology in any large enterprise, right? They have to be seen to be doing lights on is not enough, right? So that is something that we definitely see people, kind of adopting.
You mentioned about that IBM works with academia also. So can you
Yes.
tell us more on that? Because reskilling and upskilling is still the challenge, and industry is saying that they are not getting the talent as per the requirement of this their manufacturing processes. So how do you
Yeah.
resolve this kind of problem?
So what we've done, I can talk about a few initiatives that IBM has actually done over the past couple of years in terms of collaborating with governments across the board, whether it is in terms of the government of India or different states. You would have seen, we going and opening up AI labs across the country, partnering with a lot of state governments in terms of setting up, centers of excellence there. Uh, Other than that, some of the larger institutions in the country, we've set up labs where students can try their hands around quantum computing and AI, so that they're getting skilled in terms of this use. Also on the STEM, we've done a lot of work around skilling people. We're working with National Skill Development Council to enable large scale skilling programs across the country. So those we believe would become as a ground to create, nourish, and nurture talent to be ready for the industry as we go along. And we are not doing this in some of the traditionally known cities. We are going into tier two, tier three cities across the country, so that we are going closer to where people are. It's just an opportunity that was not available, which is now becoming available to them through some of these centers. So we definitely believe that that's actually helping a lot of states in terms of building up their own. For example, Kochi, right? It's a large center for us where we've set up AI shops and things like that. So like that, similarly, different cities in the country, whether it is now Lucknow, Bhubaneswar, Coimbatore, Mysore, a lot of cities in the country where we are setting up these labs.
Right. Thanks, Rajesh, for sharing your views on the different aspects of Industry 4.0 and what we can really anticipate in the next few years in terms of upgrading the manufacturing systems or manufacturing processes to the next level so as to be competitive in the global markets. And lots of trends, mega trends have been coming into the industry last few years. And I'm
Right.
sure in the next few years, the Indian industry also is will be at par with the global industry in terms of adoption of these technologies. So thanks
Yes.
for sharing your views on these very important aspects of Industry 4.0 and the advanced technology adoption. And it was really pleasure interacting with you.